Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and abundance to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth, and much respect to the Akim out there laboring in his work, and also to the believers set across the four corners of the earth, the hopefully elect. To you I say, Shalom. So let's jump straight into it. I got this article from Blacklisted News. It says DHS head Mayorkas radicalized Americans who believe false narratives are the new terror threat. Alright. And so to cut straight through the BS, we understand according to the scriptures that this man is plotting against the Israelites, the ones that hold the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai, because rulership is at stake. This man's livelihood is at stake. His birthright that he lost is at stake. Everything that this man has fought for is at stake due to the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai. And so a great accusation along with a great persecution is being prepared for the believers of Yahweh Shai, the anointed. Alright? And so it's nothing new. Even during a time of 64 AD, if I'm not mistaken, you had the Christians or the believers of Yahweh Shai who were blamed for burning down Rome, and they spoke about the coming of a new king, had been Yahweh Shai to throw down that current system. And so an accusation was formed against them, and they were persecuted and ultimately killed, man. They were killed during that time because they believed in that radical ideology, which is what they call today about a new kingdom. A lot of them were fed unto lions. Alright, they were tortured, so on and so forth. And so they're getting ready to persecute or try to persecute the Christians again, but this time the Lord's going to protect his elect. And so when you consider what happened with 9/11, with the Twin Towers and how they were staged, and when it happened, it brought all people together against this one common threat, that being what's his guy name, Bin Laden. All right, and everyone hated that nigga, including us who were around at the time that didn't know the truth. We hated that nigga, Bin Laden. We thought he was the most extreme terrorist. And so we're going to be put in that same light. We're going to be looked at as pretty much like Bin Laden, as they continue to push out these narratives and these false flags that's going to be pinned against people with radical ideologies. You see? So this is why we got to get our mind prepared to endure, the persecution that we're going to face during these times. All right. So let's play this guy real quick, and then we'll get into some more articles and, of course, the scriptures.
And security was formed in the wake of the September 11th attacks. How has it evolved since then to safeguard the U.S. from foreign threats?
Jonathan, the threat landscape has evolved considerably over the last 20 years. Back when 9/11 occurred, in those years, we were very focused on the foreign terrorist, the individual who sought to do us severe harm, to enter the United States and do us harm. It then evolved. We began to be more and more concerned about the individual already resident in the United States, radicalized by a foreign terrorist ideology. Now we are seeing an emerging threat, of course, over the last several years, of the domestic violent extremist, the individual here in the United States radicalized to violence by a foreign terrorist ideology, but also an ideology of hate, anti-government sentiment, false narratives propagated on online platforms, even personal grievances. The threat landscape has evolved. 20 years ago, uppermost in our minds was not the cybersecurity threat, the threat of cyber criminals or foreign adverse states. Now it very much is. We have evolved. We have grown to meet the evolving threat. We have a cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency. We have a Center for Prevention Programs and Partnership to address the threat of domestic violent extremism. We've grown our grant funds, working in partnership with state, local, tribal, territorial governments. We've grown along with that threat because it is our obligation to do so, to make sure that the American people are safe and secure, regardless of the nature of the threat that we confront.
Mr. Secretary, you have said that domestic extremism, quote, is the single greatest terrorism-related threat in the United States. What are the best ways to combat the domestic terrorism threat?
I think, of course, we have to address the underlying cause. And in fact, the president is convening a summit against hate next week. We have to address why do people radicalize to violence. And we have to work with local communities to equip and empower them to address the threat that could materialize. You know, we have seen in Buffalo, New York, in Uvalde, Texas, in Highland Park, individuals who showed signs of descending down a path to violence. And we have to educate people on how to identify the signs when somebody is in need of help, and to bring that help to bear so that that violence does not materialize.
And so as you heard the devil speak, you know, which was a mouthful, he basically was saying that, you know, we've been able to keep up with this radical movement, these radical ideologies. You know, we've grown with them, so they're able to track and trace everything about their cybersecurity. And this is why we get so many pings on our videos. You know, this is why they get taken down so much. And they're able to track and trace everyone that is associated with those type of beliefs. Or they're marking everyone who, you know, has an online platform or that is associated with these different beliefs, man. All right. And so they think within their mind that they're going to be able to stop, you know, the spread of this during a time of what, martial law. Once they initiate martial law by the way of some kind of false flag event, all right, they're going to try to justify themselves before that to coming in and rounding up these radical believers, you know, who are terrorists unto the society or a threat unto the society. All right, so this is the narrative that they are creating. And so this word ultimately is cutting this devil. And this is why we are the number one target. So Revelation 12:10 says, "Then I heard a loud voice shouting across the heavens, it has come at last, salvation and power, and the kingdom of our power, which is Yahweh, and the authority of his anointed." All right, Yahweh Shah. "For the accuser of our brothers and sisters," all right, the Israelites, the elect, "has been thrown down to the earth." So he was thrown down how? By this testimony, this truth. It says, "The one who accused them before our power day and night." It says, "And they defeated him by the blood of the Lamb, Yahweh Shai, and by their testimony." You see that? "And they did not love their lives so much that they were afraid to die," because we're appointed to death, man. You know, we're all appointed to death. We're on a list by these devils, but Yahweh Shai says he's not going to give us over into their teeth, as a prey unto their teeth, the ones that believe in Yahweh Shai. All right? So these devils are plotting. As you get in Psalm 37:12, "The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnashed upon him with his teeth." Okay, and behind all these smoke screens, all right, we know they're talking about the Israelites. He's speaking about radicalized, all right, radicalized Americans. Now, let's pull this up. So you got the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, all right, Radical Hebrew Israelites. Since the 1960s, they've been keeping up with everything from Rabbi Albert Bivens all the way up until now. They know the history. I do believe, you know, your boy Vocab is a component for the SPLC. So it says, since the late 1960s, the radical Hebrew Israelites ideology splintered to form increasingly anti-Semitic, anti-white, anti-LGBTQ, so on and so forth, sects of groups who preach they only are the true Israelites of the Bible, and perpetrate the anti-Semitic belief that so-called Jews have stolen their identity and birthright. And they have. That is truth. Because they know that they lost their birthright. Okay, he sold his birthright. As a matter of fact, and so he's not wanting to give it back up. So, this is a pretty good read. I might try to put this in the description box so you can check it out, but we're going to go down to the core beliefs, and they got us down to the T according to what we believe in, our scriptures. All right, so let's start off. And so it says, along with street preaching, these groups have carved out a significant presence on social media. And that's what that nigga was just talking about. All right. Online platforms, which have been pivotal to the spread of their beliefs and conspiracy theories. They have used social media sites, including Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Periscope, to radicalize their members by sharing disinformation in their sermons. There's a lot of key words within this paragraph that these devils speak about. And you see right here how all of that is related to the radical Hebrew Israelites. You see that? So we know deep down the main target is talking about the Israelites. It says, again, they have used social media sites, including Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope, to radicalize their members by sharing disinformation in their sermons, intentionally triggering content and sharing injustices carried out against people of color in order to inflame racial tensions and resentment. All right, let's continue reading. These groups believe an Armageddon level event will occur due to all the wickedness in Babylon, America. And that's what we teach. America's going to be destroyed in World War III. And often claim this event is right around the corner. There is a consensus that most Israelites must commit back to the covenant of the Most High Yahweh's laws, and that this event will be the destruction of many. But will signal salvation of this group, they think UFO sightings are signs of this event, and some even believe they will be taken up into flying saucers. So that's a great millstone doctrine right there. We see how they're pretty much pinpointing the specific threat. Okay, so let's continue reading. We're gonna find out even more. So it says, while these groups are verbally aggressive and express extremely hateful views, they are waiting on the return of who? Yahweh Shai, that cancels out IUIC. They are waiting on the return of Yahweh Shai, right, to usher in a new era in which the Israelites will become kings of the earth and will enslave white people, you Edomites, and all other nations. It says either to serve the Israelites or to be punished in unimaginably horrific ways as retribution. So what's more threatening to the so-called white man's empire than that narrative, which is straight out the Bible? You see? So by default, this man is plotting and scheming against the ones that had his testimony. All right, so that's why you see all these different scenarios, dealing with this, the Jersey City shooting, who are the black Hebrew Israelites. You got this nigga right here, okay, who ran over a few people, a few Edomites, and they associated him with the black Hebrew Israelites. And these are narratives being built up by this devil for this great accusation. Now I want to play this video real quick, and then we'll get back into the scriptures.
I feel 100% comfortable in saying that it's a hate crime and domestic terrorism, and when more and more information comes out over the next few days, I think it's going to be very, very apparent that they had intent of murdering more than 3 people, and had it not been for those officers responding immediately and pinning them inside of that grocery store, this would have been much worse. And I think as the information comes out, I'm comfortable in saying that. And as the world is watching, it's important to call it anti-Semitism and hatred and domestic terrorism, whatever terms you want to use, but you need to call it out for what it is.
The AG's office isn't going as far as you
look, I respect the AG's office, and they're conducting the investigation as they're supposed to conduct the investigation and be cautious in their terminology, and I respect that. But when you look at the facts, I'm pretty comfortable we're going to end up in the place of calling it for what it is, and we should do that quickly and aggressively.
Yeah, so there you go. All right. There you go. So, what we're saying is that there's going to be a transferring of kingdoms. Okay, from the Edomite unto the Israelites. So Isaiah 14, and we started verse 3. Man. Matter of fact, we'll start at verse 1. Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, the Israelites, and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, because what we've been cast away. We're going back to the land of Israel, in which these fake Jews have stolen our land and our heritage. And the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob. The strangers, talking about the Israelite foreigners. And the people shall take them, all right, these other nations, and bring them to their place, okay? Primarily Esau, they're going to be brought unto their place. They're going to be set below us as they are supposed to be. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord Yahweh for servants and handmaids. All right, that's their their rightful position upon this earth as servants and handmaids, slaves. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. See that? And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Yahweh by Shema Shah shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, because we've been slaves upon these devils ever since they came over and stole this land. See that? That thou should take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, Esau, and say, how have the oppressors ceased, and the golden city America ceased, because this place is going to be completely destroyed. So when that day, when this place is destroyed, that's going to be rest for our people. You see? The Lord's going to loose us from the bonds of Esau. Verse 5, it says, Lord Yahweh had broken the staff of the wicked. All right, this man's strength, the Lord has broken it by the way of this truth. And the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindered. So no one's going to be able to stop Esau from being judged in this world to come. Okay? So he who smote the people in wrath, who smote us? Okay, with a continual stroke, with the whip. He that ruled the nations in anger, the so-called white man, is persecuted and none hindered. And so the whole earth is going to be at rest and it's going to be quiet. They break forth into singing. This is the future, man. When this man is taken down, the whole earth is going to rejoice. See? And this man is afraid of his judgment, because he's going to be spoiled like he spoiled these other nations, especially the Israelites. So the judgment of the Most High, Isaiah 33:1, it says, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. See? When thou shalt cease to spoil. So when this man gets done persecuting, he said, thou shalt be spoiled. Okay? When he gets done robbing, he's going to be robbed. See? And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. See? So, O Lord Yahweh, be gracious unto us, the Israelites, for we have waited for thee. Be thou their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble, because this man is coming to cut us off from being a nation. You see that? So Yahweh Shai and the angels is going to protect this elect during these times of trouble. It's called Jacob's trouble. So we end off with this. Isaiah 59:15 says, yeah, truth faileth, and he that depart from evil maketh himself a prey. You see, we're a prey because we speak the truth. And the Lord Yahweh saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment. So Yahweh is in the heavens watching this man plot against the ones that have the truth, man, that are crying out for justice. It says, and he saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no intercessor. Therefore his arm, and who was the arm of the Most High, Yahweh Shai, brought salvation unto him. When you go back into the curses, Deuteronomy 28:68, it says, no man shall save thee, or no man shall buy you, man. So it was going to be Yahweh Shai that's going to redeem our people from the captivity of Esau. So therefore his arm brought salvation unto him, and his righteousness, it sustained him. For he put on righteousness as a breastplate, and a helmet of salvation upon his head, and he put on the garments of vengeance for clothing, and was clad with a zeal as a cloak. So according to their deeds, according he will repay. So whatever they did unto us, Yahweh Shai is going to return that favor. He says, repay fury to the adversaries, recompense to his enemies, to the islands he will repay. So this is what we're preaching. The end of Esau and the beginning of the Israelites in the world to come, in which peace will reign forevermore, man. All right? So to hell with these devils and whatever they're doing, because ultimately it's not going to work. They've already been defeated by the scriptures, as we got in Revelation 12 and verse 11. And they defeated him by the blood of the Lamb, Yahushua, and by their testimony. You see that? So the blood of Yahushua is going to cover the elect, and their testimony is going to condemn Esau. And they did not love their lives so much that they were afraid to die. So therefore rejoice, O ye heavens, and you who live in the heavens rejoice. But terror will come on the earth and the sea, for the devils come down to you having great anger, knowing that he has a little time. So this is why this man's wrath is coming. But the Lord is telling the elect to rejoice, because it's going to be salvation for the elect. So with that, Lord willing, you're edifying. Till next time I say, Shalom.